If you go to the before 1947, we are seeing that the British education system is developed, the Indian education system to develop as a clerical job, not to become an entrepreneur, not to become a leader, not to become a critical thinker or the researcher. In our university, suddenly I realized to develop from this situation, we need to create the more entrepreneur. While I studied to the university, everybody laughing me because if my friend is asking me, what is your intention? I tell him, I like to become a businessman. Inside the university, all of the activities is run by our young student who key intention to become the entrepreneur. Even 99% restaurant is run by the student. Whenever any student is starting any company, if our university need any sorts of support and services, logistic, etc., we always try to help our student. Last consecutive 3 years, the below 40 years, top taxpayer is our alumni. So why? Because majority of them now, they are becoming entrepreneurs.
The global north needs to be part of this en bloc to support the global south, because at the moment everybody is going to the global north, but does the global north need to be an enabler for the global south to do better? And for that, I would like to go to for the opening statements to Professor Khan from Daffodil to let us know, what do you feel? And I think a lot of the struggles between Indonesia, India and Bangladesh could be very similar.
Thank you, Dr. Ashin, and thank you very much. I think I'm echoing with Professor Rajkumar. I think he already mentioned the colonialization, and at the same time, you also mentioned that people are focusing the global north, because one of the key reason already he briefly identified, due to cause of this colonization, what happened? We were tortured, but they were grabbing the opportunity and taking the development lead of their own country. As your presentation, you also mentioned that 85% population dominated by the global south, but only 25% you see that the development aspect, if I'm going to the research and contribution, it is very low of the percentage. So why this percentage? Because one of the key reasons, due to cause of the considering the population, I'm sure that we are not focusing the educational development. At the same time, you know that the globalization, and you know that if we go to the symbolize of as a human being, I think first our identity, we are human. I think then we should consider that which country we are belongs to. But if we go to the depth root of the humanization, I'm sure that we must need to get the practice of the global north, and at the same time all of the best practices is going on, and especially the university and higher education sector can play a very good role, because without getting the best practices, best model, I think it will be impossible to develop the global south. You see, the global south is also focusing, as you also mentioned, that to do the go to the north. Because why? Because north is focusing a lot of research, and north is already developed a model from the university, research and other industry academia. If you come to the global south, you see the last 15 years or 20 years, slowly the industry academia bridging is moving. Still, I'm sure that there is a huge gap. If we consider the Korea, Japan and China, but luckily they overcome this barrier. Last, I think that 5 to 6 years, unbelievable development is going on, especially the industry and academia, both of them work together. If we are talking about the Korea University, I'm really happy to see, I'm sure that all of the delegates also visited the Korean University, the Seoul campus. Some of the practices they are doing, a lot of the industry, they are making the handshake with the Korean University. And you see that they develop the lab facility, they develop their lot of this ecosystem inside the university. So if you are not bringing the success of the industry inside the university, I think it will be impossible to develop our student mindset. Because still global south, I should say that 80%, if I am not wrong, 80% still the mindset is, I like to become a graduate. I like to get the certificate. But I think the mindset need to get the changing. No, I like to make myself as a contributor of the society rather to getting the graduation certificate. So how it will be possible? It will be possible to the seeing the practice of the global north. And again, global south is also doing. So, Ashin, I think you are right, because now it is the time the partnership should be focusing on the global South-South, because South-South is also moving very fast in respect of GDP, in respect of infrastructure, in respect of development. I think that if I'm talking about this Samsung, I think Samsung itself is penetrating the mobile market. I'm sure you know that how much they are fighting with the whole world now. I think this is the top brand after the iPhone. If you consider the iPhone, it's another category. But beside the iPhone, if you come to the Android, I think that the major player is the Samsung. So these sorts of practices we need to get from the global South. And at the same time, Japan, they were mostly focused on the global North earlier for their marketing and other. But now they also realize that for their own existence, they also need to expand their business focus and partnership with the global South. So that is why you see last 3 to 4 years, if we go to the Japan's background and their strategy of the government, they are also focusing on the global South. So definitely, I think it is the time for us to find out the partnership, of course, with the global South. And again, we need to cultivate, as Rajkumar is pointing out, that all of this background and history, if we go back, I think that was not good for us. So we don't go back to the history. Rather, we should need to see the forward. How can we bridging our partnership and making us successful so that the 85% population, if they can contribute professionally, ethically, morally, financially, I'm sure that Global South can lead the whole world. And at the same time, you know that every country need to the democratization. I think as Rajkumar is also mentioned that and political leader also need to be matured. So that's my point.
So with that thought of jobs and economy seems to be one of the biggest common factor between all the countries we have in the global South. And maybe you can tell us what we could learn from what Bangladesh is doing, what your institution is doing, and what mechanisms we could bring in to enable partnerships for collective development across the global South.
Thank you, Oshin. I think very good question. And again, I think few of the point is covered up by Rajkumar. And as Indian, you know that Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, all we are the India, Greater India, before 1947. So if you go to the before 1947, what we are seeing? We are seeing that the British education system is developed, the Indian education system to develop as a clerical job, not to become an entrepreneur, not to become a leader, not to become a critical thinker or the researcher. So what happened? All of this Indian dominant still yet following the same system. And Rajkumar has already mentioned the USA, Canada, Australia. So I like to mention that before Canada, Australia, and USA, UK education was dominating the whole world. If you go back to the history, why UK education is dominating the whole world? Because their mindset they already created to the whole world. They are the world best. They will lead the whole world. So now what happened, as you mentioned that in our university, suddenly I realized that as a Bangladesh, you know that it's the least development country. So to develop from this situation, we need to create the more entrepreneur. So if I consider myself, when I graduated from the university, so I was determined while I was student to the university that I like to become a businessman. Why? Because my father was a businessman. He was not so successful. So, but seeing his failure, I realized that if I can become an entrepreneur, I may contribute more because I learned something from my father. Mm-hmm. So luckily, I should say that directly or indirectly, almost 15,000 people I am already job created in my organization. Not only the university, I have a lot of other organizations. So this gives me confidence to introduce Department of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in 2014 in our university. And you'll be happy to know that last consecutive 3 years, the below 40 years, top taxpayer is our alumni. So why? Because majority of them now, they are becoming entrepreneurs. So this ecosystem we develop inside the university, and you will be happy to know that inside the university, all of the activities is run by our young student, those who key intention to become the entrepreneur. Even 99% restaurant is run by the student. All activities, commercial activities, inside, outside, or the surrounding to the campus, we always encourage our student to become the entrepreneur. Because you know the entrepreneurial mindset student, if you nurture them, help them, giving them some seed funding, even from university, with our group of companies, we form one venture capital companies. So we give the seed fund, we call the Entrepreneurship Development Fund, that is EDF fund. It's very small amount. We are giving around US dollar, it's 500 to 5,000 US dollar maximum, but no service fee, no hidden fee, nothing. Only the commitment to the student. If you get the money from this Entrepreneurship Development Fund, you will not lose any money. All money you need to back. If you do the profit, it's up to you. You can share some 10%, 20%, 30%. So what happened? 90% student, they are committed to utilize that money and to make their life successful. So I should say that as you know that one of the leader of Bangladesh, Dr. Yunus, maybe some of you know that now, he's the head of our country now, luckily. So he also developed the social business culture, the social business, and he got the Nobel in 2006 due to cause of this great initiative. So we also follow the same trend. The social business that is called the Social Business Forum. We developed in 2008 in our university with the help of Dr. Yunus that the students should learn also the social business while they will study in university. So by this way, we developed a culture of our university. That's why everybody know that our university is an entrepreneur university, because we always encourage students that please help each other, and even that whenever any student is starting any company, if our university need any sorts of support and services, logistic, etc., we always try to help our student, because our student is also, that if we are not allowing them, helping them, nurture them, I think they cannot get the right step or footstep in your business. So that is why I should say that South should need to focus the entrepreneurial mindset. As I already mentioned a few minutes back, if we consider the Samsung, Hyundai, the South Korea's, what is the base level of South Korea? The base level is entrepreneur. If you see that from your hotel and outside, Lotte, LG, Hyundai, Kia, you see few company, I think 10 or 15 companies, they develop the whole Korean economical foundation. At the same time, Japan, even China, if you consider the China, the China is once upon a time, I'm sure that whenever we were very young in the university or the school student, if any product coming from the China, we are laughing, oh, Chinese product. It's not a good product. So now the reverse mentality is coming. Now Chinese product, it's a good product. Even the USA, they stop their production, they are sourcing their product from the China. So China has the quality A, B, C, D. So if you like to A, okay, you can take the A quality, is good quality. So these entrepreneurial mindset people now also drive the Chinese culture. And the same
That's
India also same. India, you see why India is proudly now represented to the whole world due to cause of entrepreneur. Few of the entrepreneur, Tata, that Birala, and a lot of other Ambani, I think these sorts of entrepreneur is now driving the whole world. And they are now is the world ranking when the top rich people is coming. We are seeing the top 10. There is a 2-1 from India. China is also dominating. So this is I should say that the university level entrepreneurial education, innovation and entrepreneurship education need to introduce to the all university gradually. Otherwise, what happened? A lot of the students will be coming to university. You cannot identify who has the entrepreneurial mindset, who can contribute to the country's economical backbone. At the same time, that while I studied to the university, everybody laughing me because if my friend is asking me, what is your intention? I tell him, I like to become a businessman. So they say, why you like to become a businessman? I say, because you will help me when I'll start my business. And honestly speaking, I got the support from my friend. I got the support from my university fellow. Because when I started my business, I think all of my university friends helped me, support me. Even they carry my visiting card in their pocket. They told me my friend is doing this business because I started my business with a computer business.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Khan. I think that's really interesting. Entrepreneurship should be rooted in the global South-South partnerships. I'm thinking maybe these 4 countries we have here today, and I call you all countries, but you'll represent each of your country here. Can we envision, perhaps to start with, a 4-country scheme or mobility program which takes students across these 4 countries? Could we do something of that sort to start with? At least start with institutions, Professor Khan.
I think I'm also thinking the same way, because if we can develop some consortium, strong consortium among the 5, 6, 7 countries, specific university, and just share all of the best practices among us and find out the result of that is the outcome need to identify. I think the QS in near future, maybe they can also, I think Ashin, I think you can also in the QS, you can also add one point that how much the consortium, the successful consortium is developed. At the same time, I think Rajkumar is also mentioned, I think that you also mentioned that why not we also can include to the QS or other ranking criteria that how much scholarship we can offer, as Erasmus is already one of the great model. I think Turkey is also do the Mevlana. I think these sorts of lot of scholarship is already playing. Even the Korea also have a one scholarship. I think these sorts of scholarship is also can introduced by the university itself for getting the more student, attracting to the more student. Because the student, those who are going to the north, all of the rich student, but the poor student, those do not have the financial ability, usually they prefer to go to the south. That mentality also need to change. So I hope that these 2 points need to consider in near future.
In the QS ranking. I don't think there's anybody from the QS rankings team here to take that feedback, but we'll definitely take it back.
The ability of certain scholars, it means that this is also a challenge for all of us here, an institution to define what counts as knowledge, how it is produced, and for whom it serves. So it does not mean rejecting Northern engagement, but recalibrating the center of gravity.
True collaboration means shifting from one-way delivery of knowledge to a real model of co-creation. It's about building equal partnerships. All institutions contribute, learn, and benefit together.
In India, we are able to create successful missions to both Mars and Moon for a cost of 75 million US dollars. We are able to send successful missions to the planets Mars and Moon for $75 million. United States makes Hollywood movies such as Interstellar and Martian for $100 million.
Thank you very much for a nice, really bright session this morning. Over to Alison. Should we do a photograph of all the panelists together?